Multinational Nestle has now launched a massive PR offensive after withdrawing Maggi noodles last night from Indian shelves. Today, the global CEO of the company flew in from Switzerland in a bid to control the damage. But there could be more twists to the noodles tangle. The health minister has now ordered a top-level crackdown. The Prime Minister's office wants a report. And after 9 variants of Maggi noodles failed the test, trouble could be brewing internationally too for Nestle, with the United Kingdom's Food Safety Agency also ordering tests on the popular snack.
It takes 2 minutes to cook, but there is no instant solution to Nestle's nightmare. And Maggi noodles is off the menu for the nation that once swore by it.
बच्चे लोग को तो मैगी एकदम नहीं खिलाना चाहिए। मैगी तो बहुत ही हार्मफुल है, उसमें कई सारे हानिकारक केमिकल्स हैं जो बिल्कुल नहीं खाने चाहिए, बच्चों को भी नहीं और बड़ों को भी नहीं।
After withdrawing Maggi from Indian stores, global food giant went on a PR overdrive, and the assurances on safety came from the top honcho at Nestle.
I must say, the products, the Maggi noodles in India, are safe for consumption, and that may sound very hard, but very, very affirmative.
With a whopping 10,000 crores wiped off its market capitalization in 7 trading sessions at the stock markets, Nestle's plummeting shares and recurring revenue losses have given the company much to worry about. Nestle also took to the High Court to challenge the 90-day ban imposed in Uttarakhand.
Nestle has approached the Uttarakhand High Court to challenge the ban on the manufacture of Maggi noodles at its factory in Pantnagar. The food major has taken the legal recourse even as Nestle Global CEO asserted that the product was safe for consumption.
But Nestle's rebuttal did little to convince the health ministry. A top-level crackdown on Maggi has been ordered after food watchdog FSSAI declared 9 variants of Maggi noodles hazardous.
We have given instructions that all 9 products, Maggi products, should be recalled from the market.
The Maggi ban has extended to at least 11 states. There is no room for a plate of Maggi in Bihar and Madhya Pradesh either.
ये फैसला भी आज मध्य प्रदेश सरकार कर रही है कि इस संबंध में जब तक स्थिति स्पष्ट नहीं हो जाती तब तक मैगी नूडल्स की बिक्री पर मध्य प्रदेश में प्रतिबंध रहेगा.
But as several states closed the doors on Maggi, there emerged one prominent political voice in favor of the instant noodles brand.
আমরা কিন্তু কিছু পাইনি, সুতরাং আপত্তিকর কিছু পেলে নিশ্চয়ই আমরা সিদ্ধান্ত নেব, কিন্তু আপত্তিকর না পাওয়া পর্যন্ত আমার কোনো অধিকার নেই.
Maggi noodle soup has reached boiling point, with Indians across the country saying no to Maggi.
हमने मैगी नहीं खानी, हमने मैगी नहीं खानी.
Will Nestle be able to regain its once loyal consumer base? Bureau Report, India Today.
So really, is Nestle telling the truth now? Does Nestle's defense have any case? Joining me now, Dr. Manjari Chandra, she's a nutritionist, and Sunita Narayan of the Center for Science and Environment is also with me. Appreciate both of you joining us to understand this question. We've heard 2 views today, one from the Health Ministry, one from Nestle. Where does the truth lie? I'm going to come to specifics. What are the first specifics? And let me take this to Sunita Narayan first, that Maggi says, and this is what was said by the CEO, the company does not add any MSG during the course of production. That if there were any ingredients in the product that seemed to resemble MSG, that was not because the company added MSG. So that's their first response to the MSG issue. How do you respond to that, Sunita? Do you believe the Nestle CEO when he says that?
You know, Rajdeep, it's not for me or for you to believe. For the first time, we actually have a government that has acted. Let us be very clear. The FSSAI order today is a very good, clear order which examines all the issues as you are putting out have been examined by the food regulator. So the issue on MSG has been discussed by the regulator. Maggi's defense is what you have said, that we do not add it. Yet the regulator has said world over the practice is that if you do not add it, you do not claim a food labeling credit for it. So you do not say no added MSG, knowing fully well that they could be.
Nestle is now saying they are ready to remove the no MSG label.
So Rajdeep, I think the fact is now that they have been caught out, they're ready to remove it, which is fine. But that, I think you have to be very clear, is the job of a food regulator. And they have done their job for once, so give them the credit.
Where I will therefore question it, Dr. Chandra, is Ajinomoto or MSG. It's found presumably if I go to a Chinese restaurant, I'm going to use Ajinomoto, and I won't even know whether it's of the permissible limit or not. The question is Ajinomoto being used in most foods, packaged or otherwise, or even in restaurants? And therefore, if the global CEO of Nestle turns around and says, look, why are you singling us out? Does he have a case in your view? Is most Indian food today having excessive MSG in it?
Yeah, let's get the facts clear first, Rajdeep. There is MSG in a lot of food. A lot of packed, processed, tinned, canned, Chinese, frozen food has added MSG as per regulation. Another fact is that MSG does not cause a lot of damage. It is supposed to be a very safe additive. Even for infants, the brain-blood barrier that was talked about is now ruled out as per scientific literature. So it does not have any established disease-causing phenomena. That is one part of it.
So MSG on its own does not, in your view, cause disease, lead to heart trouble as is suggested by some?
It leads to only the Chinese symptom, you know, the Chinese restaurant syndrome that we say, which is nausea, vomiting, GI disturbance, but not to any major neurological or any other disease.
Okay, can I then come to the second point? The second point that the global CEO of Nestle has now made, he says that we have been testing instant noodles since the controversy over the presence of lead, and we have not found lead exceeding the permissible limit. Sunita Narayan, are we to take his word for it?
No, absolutely not, Rajdeep. I mean, again, there are two things here. One, let's be very clear, the food regulator has examined the reports of all tests that have been done, whether they have been done in Gorakhpur or they have been done in Gandhinagar. The fact is, Indian test laboratories have tested and have found lead at higher than permissible level. Now, there are two questions here which have to be discussed. One, Nestle says that we have to take the noodle separately from the taste, from the masala. The food regulator has made it very clear that no, they are separate products, and as per the Indian regulation, you have to meet the standard in both of them.
Okay,
so I think it's important for us. I just want to make one more point, Rajdeep, on this.
Yes.
The fact is that Nestle says, if at all, that they have found lead within permissible limit. The point is that that permissible limit in India, even if they have found, is too high. In Europe, the same lead content that they would have in Maggi or any other food would be 10 times lower.
You know, the interesting thing is the company CEO says we apply the same quality standards and methods in the world here in India too. They now claim that the standards in India are no different to those in Switzerland.
We've heard that with colas.
You don't believe that?
We've heard that with colas. Of course not.
Okay, you don't believe that?
If there is lead in it, they certainly are not.
Okay, but given that, Dr. Chandra, is that possible? Because the environment in India is such, as you said, our food consumption or the manner in which food is distributed, either through restaurants or packaged foods, we don't emphasize. Do I look, when I look at a packet of Maggi, for years did I say whether there was no MSG or MSG? I don't. Indian consumers were perhaps not as particular as they should have been, or regulators were all certainly not as particular. Do you believe that's changing? Are Indians conscious when I go into a shop, do I see whether there's MSG and how much is the MSG content, for example?
Yeah. this whole controversy, that is one positive thing that is coming out of this whole controversy. People are going to not take things on face value now and are trying to find out what the contents of a packed food packet
Whether it's
are.
trans fats or whether it's MSG, we will actually find out
A
now.
lot of labeling and mislabeling in our country will get corrected also with time. For example, a lot of common chips say no trans fat on them. But the thing is, there is no transitional fat in most vegetarian products. So that's not a big claim, you know. So, you know, these are such confusing claims. They are claims which try to confuse the consumer and lead them into compulsive buying. So
that might now change.
Yeah,
that's the hope that well, we hope that will, and we hope that now that Nestle is saying that they want to restore the trust of consumers, which is shaken, the ball is squarely in Nestle's court to prove their case, both before the consumer court and indeed before the consumers of this country. Sunita Narayan will stay with us for a World Environment Day special, but Dr. Chandra, yes, very quickly.
One thing, the major problem, the controversy actually should be about lead. As a food giant, Nestle cannot sell food which has such high lead content. It does not matter where the lead came from.
And you don't believe the CEO, therefore, when he says that it doesn't exceed permissible limits.
Yeah,
he needs to really prove that point.
And
okay.
from where does it come? It really doesn't matter. It's in his food and he should be responsible.
Okay. Well, we hope the Nestle CEO is listening tonight to the news today at 9.